Welcome to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. This is a place where driven, determined coaches learn how to get off the business growth struggle bus and learn how to build a wildly profitable online coaching business. I'm your host, Allison Henderson, corporate dropout to six-figure social media business coach. I'm going to show you how I've been able to create the business of my dreams organically, all through utilizing my social media platforms. So pull up a seat, take some notes, and get ready to see your life and bank account transform. Hello, and welcome back to the Ambitious Coach Podcast. It's me, Allison. I hope you're having a fantastic week. I'm so excited for this week because Social Selling 101 officially begins on Thursday, June 1st. I'm keeping enrollment open until Friday, June 9th. Okay, so if you are listening to this right now and you're like, Allison, I still want to get in, this program is an 8-week group coaching program. So I'll be teaching you all my ways for you to get consistent clients on social media. So if right now you're like, Allison, I have a profile on social media, I'm on Instagram, but I'm not really sure how to create content that converts. I'm really not sure how to grow my audience. I'm not even sure how to create an actual sales post. Then this program is for you. I want you knowing exactly what to be doing each and every week to sign clients from your social media profiles. So you have until Friday, June 9th to get enrolled. All right, so let's dive into this week's episode. I interviewed my friend, Lucia Oliveira. She is the founder of Luminous by Lucia. She's a certified trauma-informed breathwork facilitator, a sleep consultant, and a life coach. She has such a passion for helping moms find their well-being while navigating motherhood. She has personally experienced postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. So she knows firsthand those challenges that come with motherhood. This has led her down a path to seek a deeper connection with her mind and body, which ultimately sparked her interest in sleep and breathwork. Now she is dedicated to supporting other moms in their well-being journey and helping them find their sense of peace and balance amidst the demands of motherhood. I loved this episode so much. If right now you're feeling really kind of tense, like you really know you need to relax, trust me, in business, it is so hard sometimes to really fully relax. And Lucia, just from working with her and doing her breathwork sessions, you just feel such a sense of relief and such a sense of relaxation. And at the end of this episode, she does do a 5-minute breather. But we go into a lot in this episode just on like the importance of pausing, the importance of feeling your emotions. So I really want you to listen to this episode. And if you are interested in breathwork, please reach out to Lucia. She has such an amazing gift. She's so talented at this. And yeah, I just love her so much. So hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did and have a great week, everyone. Talk to you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Lucia. Lucia, welcome. How are you today?
Oh, thanks, Allison. Thank you for letting me be here and just having this conversation with you. I'm great. I'm great. Couldn't be better.
Yay. So I am having Lucia on today. She has been in my world for probably like a year now. Started off as just being a client of mine, now a friend, and I've used her now for breathwork. And I wanted to have her on today because breathwork is so in my life, so important to my life. And this is now a venture of hers. And I wanted her to come on and share more about this. So Lucia, just start by telling me, who are you? What are you all about? And how did you get started in this?
Yeah. So I'll try to make this a short story, but
long story. Long story.
We'll be here for like 3 hours, just with my story. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm the founder of Luminous by Lucia. I am a breathwork facilitator and a sleep coach. I'm a mom to a 3-year-old boy named Gabriel, and I live in New Jersey. And my journey has been a pretty crazy one, I would say. Something that if I was to look back and people would tell me like, hey, this is where you're going to be, I'd be like, what, are you insane? I literally thought I had my life planned in the sense of what I was doing. I owned a fitness studio, for almost 7 years. And as you guys probably will know, the end of the story is that I ended up having to close my studio because of COVID and landlord issues, but I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of it. It was something that I loved. I was very passionate. It was, I would say, a well it was a thriving, successful studio until COVID hit. And I literally thought I was going to be doing that for many, many years. I probably would still be in a wheelchair and operating a studio. During the time of COVID, I also was expecting my first child. And so to say that the universe kind of threw me tons of curveballs in my life is an understatement. I went from having a thriving business to a business that was slowly slipping away, and also becoming a first-time mom in the middle of COVID. And I was so knee deep in everything that was pulled in so many directions in my life, from being an entrepreneur, being a mom, and wearing so many hats, that I completely started losing myself, in the sense where I kind of lost my identity, in a sense. And there were so many things when I first had my son that I experienced as a first-time mom. I experienced postpartum depression, anxiety, and I felt that a lot of that came from being sleep deprived. My son is probably my biggest teacher of my life. He's taught me so many things, and one of them is being resilient. And that is my word. I think I want to get that tattooed somewhere in my body. But that word is really my word. It's being resilient. And so I was trying to navigate motherhood in a very lonely time. I felt like I didn't have any support, and my son wasn't sleeping well. So I ended up wanting to become a certified sleep coach, because I felt that no mom should spend the first 2, 3 years, 4 years of their life being sleep deprived, because there are so many great tools and resources that can help you getting your child to sleep better. Because when they're sleeping better, you're sleeping better, everyone's thriving. So I became a sleep coach, and in the beginning stages, I felt there was something still missing. I felt there was a lot of personal challenges coming my way. For example, closing my studio. My dad had a triple bypass surgery around the same time that I was closing my studio. And I felt if I didn't do anything, I would be knee deep in depression. And so I started listening to some podcasts, and I came across one in particular that led me to breathwork. Breathwork was something that was very new to me. I knew about it through yoga and meditation, but never the actual healing modality of spending 30 minutes, an hour, whatever that is, just bringing awareness to your breath and consciously breathing. And I will say that first session that I experienced doing breathwork, it completely changed my life. I was like, oh my goodness, this is something that is so powerful, so needed in the time that we're in. And it was exactly what I needed in that moment. For me to get out of this season of my life, this phase that I felt like I was losing myself. And so shortly after I experienced my first session, I hopped on to the program. I did my certification through the Pause Breathwork. And the person who actually mentors and is the founder is Samantha Skelly. She was the one who actually facilitated the session. And I had to hop on. I had to know more about it. I knew that I wanted to share this with people. And so I hopped on the website. I booked a discovery call with someone to talk about the program. And I think a day or two after the call, I signed up for the 6-month program. And so I did the program back in October, and I just graduated in April or March. I kind of lost track of time, but a few months ago, and it's been a hell of a ride. It's been an incredible experience. It's something that I so firmly believe and very passionate about it, because I feel that from one session, even it's a 5-minute, 10-minute breather, you can totally shift your energy. You can shift how you're feeling in that moment. And I find that if we're able to take a moment to pause from our daily life, from our craziness, that we can really tap into our true and fullest potential through breath work.
Isn't it so interesting that it's literally free? We can literally do this right now. And it's so healing and so like energizing and it's life changing. But people just are still walking around completely stressed out, anxious, tired. And like they already have this inside of them that they can do this at any given moment. Why do you think people choose not to breathe or pause regularly?
I think there's a couple of things. One thing, and one of the things that I learned through this program is in order for us to feel better, we have to feel. And I feel there's so many people out there that don't want to sit in being uncomfortable. They don't want to sit in pain, in sadness, or in happiness, or whatever that is, all the different emotions that may come up. The issue is that, and I'll speak for myself, and this is something that I try to incorporate in my daily life, is to take a moment to pause, right? If I'm having not a great day, right? I mean, I was sharing with you before we started recording about like where my son was at. And I started to notice, I think just bringing awareness to how we're feeling, how our body is trying to communicate with us, right? My body anxiety was coming up for me that my son was sick and I didn't know what to do. And so for us to take a moment to pause and reflect, that's number one, right? The acknowledgement, the awareness. And I feel because we're in a society that it's go, 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 fix, 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 that we don't take a moment to pause. We just go through the motions. We just sometimes are in survival mode. I've come across many, many people when I do tell them like, hey, I'm a breathwork facilitator. And they're like, oh, I love breathwork, but I can't do it. Like, I'm just not ready to tap into those things, you know? So it really is dependent on where the person's at. You have to have an open mind, open heart for it to work. Because if you come into a session feeling resistance, it's not going to work, right? You have to, it's like basically cracking yourself open. And in order for us, like what I mentioned, for us to feel better, we have to feel into that. We have to feel into experience anxiety, feeling tension, feeling stress, feeling sadness, even, you know, grieving someone. I just lost my dog a couple weeks ago, and I had to sit in those pockets of sadness. It's part of the healing process. And if we don't take a moment to pause, everything gets kind of like bottled up, right? We become numb. And that's exactly how I was feeling before I did this program. I was in survival mode, being a mom, being a businesswoman, right? And like, I just went through the motions. I felt myself numb. And when I allowed myself to really feel and sit with my breath, with my body, with my heart, with my mind, like things started to shift. I started to notice a change on how I was showing up as a mom, how I was showing up with other people. And so it is really important for us to take a moment to pause and reflect, because that's where the changes really happen.
Wow. It's so beautiful. And I think you're so right. I think a lot of like our human nature is like, don't feel because it's uncomfortable. And like I said, I can speak from my own experience. Like when you're having a bad day, instead of pausing, it's like, no, I'll just do more. I'll just do more so I can forget about it. I can just stay busy. And then, you know, especially as a mom, like when we just are constantly staying busy, then that's when like we get more stressed, more anxiety. And that's when like I feel like disease, right? Like I forget what the exact people always say, like the more that you just bottle it up, that's when like things start like festering inside of you, not always outside of you, right? So
Yeah.
I just
that's exactly right, Allison.
I'd love for you to go into like what are some just common benefits of breath work in general?
Oh, there's like infinite. But some of the most amazing benefits that you get is it definitely decreases your anxiety, stress. It creates clarity in your life. It brings more amazing creativity into your mind because you're able to kind of quiet, not necessarily quiet, but be aware of what's happening in your body. There is obviously from a physical standpoint, it decreases blood pressure, right? So if you are having, obviously when you're feeling anxious or stressed, obviously your blood pressure rises. So with breathing and bringing awareness to your breath and consciously breathing, you're going to be helping with that. It also helps with energizing, right? Depending on the breath pattern that you're in, like if you're feeling in a funk or feeling lethargic, breathwork can really snap you into a more energized state. A lot of my breathers experience that. It's a very calming session, but afterwards they have tons of energy. It also brings more mind-body connection when you tap into breath. I mean, I can keep going and on with the list of all the different benefits. It also creates inner peace, calmness, right? Yeah, those are just a few to name what are some of the benefits from doing breath work.
Yeah, even from working with you, like just coming out of those sessions with a lot of clarity, like a lot of downloads, like the universe, like because I wasn't able to pause that day or I wasn't really able to just meditate or get into that like mindset of like slowing down, like I was able to get so much clarity. And obviously just felt so relaxed and just overall, like my whole body was just like able to go, like finally, like, and I don't think we do that as often as we need to. So yeah, you're so talented and you have such a skill, like your voice is so soothing. And I just really, it really just puts you in that state of being that I just think like rarely do people do that. Like there are some people that meditate every day, right? Like I do get that, but like the people that are probably listening to this podcast are business owners. And like, as entrepreneurs, we're like, go, 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 do more, more, more. Like, let's just focus on building this business. And it's like, in order to speed up, we need to slow down. We'll get a lot more clarity of like, what do we actually need to be doing? Yeah. So like I said, I'm really into this stuff. I'm from just talking with me. And if you listen to my podcast, you know that I am kind of hippy dippy spiritual and like this goes hand in hand, but I'm like, I don't know why I would even label this as spiritual, like or spirituality or hippy dippy. I'm like, it's breathing. Like you're literally doing something that you do every day, but like in a different way. Like that's it.
Yeah. And breath work is like what you're just saying. It is such an important element to bring into your business, right? If you are a coach or whatever, you don't necessarily have to be a coach, but if you're just in business or even if you work for someone else, like breathwork can really help you feel more grounded. It also opens up your creativity. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it actually allows you to kind of like organize somewhat of your thoughts and like your next steps are. I've come into many sessions where someone was facilitating a session for me where I felt so overwhelmed. My to-do list was running in the background and like, I got to do this, got to do that. And afterwards I felt like, okay, I had a game plan. I was like, I knew what I was going to tackle. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe the other things that were on my to-do list are not so important. I'm going to move those for next week or whatever. And I think because I was able to pause and breathe, that it gave me that clarity. It gave me a roadmap, a guidance. And so breathwork is such a powerful tool, not just for your personal growth, but from a business perspective as well. Like it really opens up your mind to creativity, like I mentioned, balance of feeling overwhelmed. Those are all some great things that you can experience with breathwork from a business perspective.
Yeah. And I even know from our sessions too, like we set some intentions before we get started. So like you kind of know like what I want to be focusing on too during that breathwork session, which I really loved. I think a lot of people just think, oh, she's just going to tell me to breathe. And it's like, no, it's so much more than that. It's like someone's putting you into like a state of consciousness. consciousness, whatever the word is, if I can say it. And I think it's like sometimes we need somebody to do that for us. It's like the same thing, like why we get coached, right? Like we need somebody to kind of put us into that energy. And I think that's what I loved so much about our sessions together. I don't know if there's anything that you want to kind of elaborate on when it's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that to me?
It's a different experience. Like sometimes when I don't have someone to facilitate a session, I'll do it myself. And it's different, right? It's different. When you have someone guiding you, right? We talk about what you want to bring in to the session. What are you working on? What would you like clarity? How would you want to feel after a session, right? Those are all things I ask my breathers in the beginning of the session to kind of feel where they're at. And then afterwards, there's music, right? It kind of creates the whole vibe, the whole container. And to be honest with you, I'm just there as a facilitator, but really holding space for you, right? That's why I think it's so important when you go into these sessions that you have an open mind, an open heart, because breathwork, like I mentioned earlier, it cracks you open and you have to be ready for that, right? I always tell my breathers, there are things that you may experience during a session, right? From emotions, right? You can feel anger, you can feel bliss, you can feel so many things in one session, even sensations, right? These are all ways of your body processing whatever is happening inside. It's its way of communicating. It's how it's able to do that. And so you have to be open to it. Right. And so we kind of set up the scene in the sense where there's music in the background. There's a little bit of a guided meditation to allow you to drop in to that state of consciousness, right? Where there's awareness of your breath. And then we go on a little journey, right? We go on a little journey, however you want to go, right? It's your session, full sovereignty, right? Of going wherever you'd like. I'm just there to hold space for you. And so it is a very different experience when you try to do that on your own versus someone guiding you. It's just like going to the gym by yourself, right? You know what to do. You have the machines, but it's a very different experience if you have a personal coach, a personal trainer, right? It kind of helps you navigate and get to that end result faster. And so that is one of the key things of having a breathwork session, being facilitated by someone versus doing it on your own.
So for the one that's like right now listening, being like, I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. Like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to feel all the feels. Like, what would you suggest to them?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question. I think there has to be a little bit of curiosity, just a little, right? We don't have to go deep, right? We can have a conversation about where you're at. What are things that are coming up for you that you'd like to kind of ease into it, and kind of getting to know one another first, right? Creating that comfort, that knowing that I've got your back. And, and then we kind of like dip our toes lightly in, right? With maybe just a 2-minute breather, right? And it's kind of tritation is what it's called, right? Like just trying a little bit at a time. And then if there's some resistance or like, okay, I'm not ready, it's okay. We'll do that another time whenever you feel ready, right? I'm not about pushing people past their limits. Like I said, I'm a certified breathwork facilitator, but what makes it different is that I'm trauma informed, right? Like I really try to not re-traumatize someone, right? Because a lot of breathwork facilitators do that. It's like push beyond your limits. And it's just the opposite, right? It's honoring our body where it is at that moment. And so it's just taking little baby steps. Another great tip that I would love to share is just taking a moment in your day, right? If you're like, okay, I really want to tap into breathwork, and just sitting, you can set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes and just notice how you're breathing. Just noticing. Like how your inhales are going in, how your exhales are going out, not judging them, not, like holding back, just allowing your body to naturally do what it needs to do and just being aware. That's it.
Yeah. One of the mentors, I'm in a mom community, and she's like, every time you wash your hands, that's like your trigger. Like breathe, notice how you feel, like, or whatever that is. Like, everybody has like different things. She's like, for her, it was whenever I wash my hands, I just check in, I get really mindful and I pause. I'm like, I love that. And I think for you, it's like, just like, when is it throughout the day that you can just take a minute, 2 minutes, or set those timers? I know some like actual phones, like it's like, check in. Are you breathing right now? Like, I don't know, like on your watch or whatever, you can like get a little, like a little buzz that just says, breathe, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's just carving out, and it doesn't have to be like a full 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but 5 minutes. And I know that we have busy lives, but I promise you that if you make this a priority, you will find 5 minutes of your day to take a moment.
Yeah. Well, we're going to lead everybody through a breath work, like a 5 minute, maybe 10 minute, however long I don't know, however long you want, Lucia. But I'd love for everyone to kind of get into that state of where they can really feel into their breath and their body. But before we get started, like, tell everybody, how can they learn more from you? Or hire you, realistically? I want them to hire you. Please hire her. She's amazing.
You're so sweet, Allison. Thank you, love. So everyone can find me on Instagram at Luminous by Lucia, or on my website, which is luminousbylucia.com. And it's all about focusing on sleep, body, and soul, which I find are the three most crucial elements that we need in our life to really thrive as a mom, as a partner, as you name it.
Business owner,
you name it. Yeah. Those are the three elements, because when we feel, from a sleep perspective, right, sleeping is healing, right? Need sleep. Body, the movement component is medicine, right? Moving your body, whatever that looks like to you, for stretching and actually working out, nutrition, whatever that is. And then the soul is really tapping into your breath. So I really focus on the three elements in my business.
Beautiful. All right, guys, please go check her out. And all right, Lucia, I'd love for you to kind of guide us for the next few minutes on taking a minute.
Before I do that, before I do that, I just want to share, we'll do a 5-minute breather just for those who are new to kind of get their feet wet. I will want to name that if you're doing this breather, that you find yourself in a comfortable position. You could be seated, you can lay down. The one thing that I do recommend is that you're not driving while you're doing this breathwork session. It's a mini one. But even walking, like if you're walking outside, you're welcome to do this. But if you are driving, just pull over, take a moment to pause, and then continue on your journey wherever you're headed to. So with breathwork, like I mentioned earlier, there are some sensations and emotions that may come up. So to name a few, from sensations, you may feel lightheaded, you may feel some tingling sensation, you may feel your body temperature start to change, right? You might start to feel really hot, maybe cold, or even a combo of both. The other thing that you may also experience is something called tetany. Tetany is where you have soft tissue around your body. So the three most common areas that breathers may experience this contraction is around your mouth, your hands, and your feet. So anytime you start to notice these sensations, just know it's part of the journey. It's part of the process. Sensations is a big one for me. I've left many sessions where I've bawled my eyes out and felt amazing afterwards. But crying, laughter, feeling bliss, feeling outrage, anger, you name it. It could be one moment you're happy, the next moment you're crying. It's all part of the journey. The thing that I will invite you guys to is, if you start to notice these sensations or emotions, is for you to just have a bit of curiosity, right? Detaching yourself from that resistance, right? Because what I mentioned is, in order for us to feel better, we have to feel. So if at any point you feel uncomfortable, I invite you to add movement to your body, right? It could be like swaying from side to side, whatever feels good in that moment. You can also release the breath pattern that we're in, right? Going back to your natural way of breathing, or even slow down the breath pattern. However, I'm going to cue you into breathing, you don't have to match that pace, right? I want you to find something that feels supportive for you in this moment. So talking about breath patterns, we're going to play around with one of my favorite breath patterns, which is the pulse breath. We'll be here for a few minutes, but the pulse breath is breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, but we're going to add in a pattern. So I call it a 2x2 pulse pattern. So you're going to inhale twice through the nose and out through the mouth 2 times. So that's how it sounds. Again, you can find a speed, a depth that feels good to you. So we'll invite that in. With this little journey that I'm going to take you on, I'm going to guide you in a very short meditation. I'll invite you to bring in that pulse breath into it, and then we'll have a little bit of closing just for you to reflect on where you're at in that moment. Okay? So we're going to get started. So I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seated position, or you can lay down like I said, closing the eyes, just dropping in, and just bringing awareness to your breath. Just noticing how each inhale is moving in with ease into your body, and how each exhale your body feels. Allow yourself to sink into your support, letting your body feel heavy, but at the same time, this lightness. Knowing that you are in a safe space to breathe. And just notice what's here. Maybe there may be tension, tightness in your body. Seeing if you're able to allow your breath to tap into those parts that may need a little extra support or love today. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing every muscle around your face. And as a collective, taking one breath in together through the nose and out through the mouth, maybe even adding a sigh or an ah. That's it. Doing that one more time. Inhaling. Letting it all go. And now inviting in that pulse breath. Inhaling 2 times through the nose and out through the mouth 2 times. That's it. Finding a rhythm, finding a speed that feels supportive, and knowing that you are safe to breathe. That's it. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling powerfully out, letting go. Inhaling all the possibilities, desires that you are craving for in this moment. And then using the exhale as an opportunity to let go. Asking yourself, what can you allow in more of? And what can you let go? That's it. Allowing the breath to tap into those parts of your body that are feeling tight, tense. That's it. Allowing movement if you need it. Let your body experience whatever it needs to experience in this moment. That's it. Being here for just a few more moments. Inhaling twice through the nose and out through the mouth 2 times. Keep circulating the breath. feeling your heartbeat. That's it. Taking one more cycle of the pulse breath and holding the inhale at the top. Maybe even allowing your shoulders to rise up, feeling all this energy start to bring it all up. And when you're ready, exhaling, letting go. And just being here for a moment. Maybe placing one hand or both at your heart center. And feeling your heartbeat. Knowing that you have the power to change. You have all the answers that you need right within you. And when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes. Thank you so much for letting me guide you through a 5-minute breather. I hope that you feel more empowered, more grounded. Whatever you're desiring in this moment is what I want for you.
Thank you so much, Lucia. It was 5 minutes, and just think how your life could change in 30 minutes or an hour. So good. Thank you so much.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that your community, your listeners, also enjoyed the breathwork session. Thank you so much for letting me be here and having this beautiful conversation with you.
Yeah. Any last words of wisdom for the audience today?
I have so many.
You'll have to come back on for sure.
I'll have to come back, but I will say that it's okay to feel. It's okay to feel.
I like
and
that.
being with it, even if it's uncomfortable. Just giving yourself this gift of feeling can make such a huge shift in your life. If you just allow yourself to pause and honor your body where it is in that moment.
Thank you, Lucia. I feel so relaxed. I feel so good. I hope you guys all that are listening really did sit for those 5 minutes and do this. There's so much more Lucia can do for you. She's so just such a beautiful human being. So you are. I'm looking at you because I can see you. You guys can't see her, but you're so amazing. And I love you so much. And I'm just so happy you came on today. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
All right, everyone, go follow Lucia, hire her, get some breath work in your life. And yeah, definitely check out her stories, check out her Instagram. She is just full of wisdom, and yeah, you're going to love her so much. So thank you. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening to the Ambitious Coach podcast today. A couple favors before you go. If you found this episode helpful, please take a screenshot and share it on Instagram. Most importantly, don't forget to tag me at Allison Henderson _coach. That's ALLISON Henderson _coach. And lastly, please take a minute to rate this episode and leave a raving review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen. Okay, ambition is great, but it's time to get to work. Take action and commit to being 1% better every day. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again next week.